Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do an oil change on a 97 Ranger. First, you're going to need your oil, which is 5 quarts of 5W30. Then you're going to need your oil filter, and I got a SAA part number. You can get, there's another one that's longer life, but I'm not keeping this thing for very long, so I got that one. Then you need your 16mm socket for the drain plug and a ratchet, and that's about all you need. Alright, so the first step in the process is to break this drain nut loose. And you're going to do that with your 16mm socket, which I already broke it loose. So once you have it broken loose, you can finger loosen it the rest of the way while you have your oil drain pan under it, ready to catch the oil. And so yeah, you're going to start with just draining the oil, obviously. And then we're going to take the oil filter off. And yeah, so you take this drain plug out. And try not to make a mess, but it doesn't always happen. And, oh, hey, that was pretty good. Ooh, that's pretty dark oil. But, yeah, so you let that all drain out. And I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's ready to put the drain plug back in. Alright, so once you've waited 10 or so minutes and you've got it down to a slow drip, it's going to drip for a while, but if it's dripping slowly like it is right now, that's fine. You can just throw the drain plug right back in there, and yeah, you're going to tighten that down, but you don't want to go too hard because you obviously don't want to strip the threads. So just get it good and snug, and then once you have that snug on there, you're going to move right over to the oil filter, and that should just theoretically thread off by hand. However, sometimes they're very tight, so I'm going to show you what you can do if it's really tight. Mine's leaking a lot right now, so I'm just gonna let it leak a little bit before I stick my hand back in there, because I did get a little bit dirty from that. Alright, so say your oil filter is stuck on and you can't get it off. One thing that I would do is I would take a screwdriver, preferably a Phillips head, and what you would want to do is you would want to hammer it into the old oil filter like this, and you just tap on it until the hammer breaks through. And you want to go till you're all the way through. So if it was going through, you want it to be like that. So then you can get more leverage on it than you would be able to get with your hand, and you can just turn it counterclockwise or left to loosen it from the engine. Another thing you can do is you can use an oil filter wrench, something like this, but mine doesn't fit the oil filter I have right now. Luckily, I didn't have too much trouble getting it off, but I have in the past. And yeah, so that's one thing you guys can do if you can't get that oil filter off, is to hit a screwdriver through it and then use the screwdriver to turn it off. So now I'm going to go back over to that oil filter and replace it with the new one. Alright, so now that the new oil filter is somewhat done spilling everywhere, I'm going to fully take it off. And so yeah, it just threads off just like any old nut would, or, you know. Oh, so you're going to want to put that into your oil pan, and you just want to compare it to your new one, make sure they look like they're about the same size. And then you're going to take some oil, and right on this rubber gasket, you're going to want to lube it up a little bit so that it can provide a good seal for it. And so yeah, you're just going to do that all around. Doesn't have to be crazy wet, just enough to lube it so it can get a good seal. And then you're going to screw it right onto there with your new one. Should just thread right on. And now that you got your new oil filter and drain plug all snug down, you're ready to fill the truck with oil. One last thing before you guys fill your truck up with oil is you want to make sure that this rubber gasket came off, because if it didn't, you're not going to get a good seal, and your oil filter is going to leak. So next you're going to come over to the hood, under the hood, and you're going to take off this cap. And yeah, all you need to do is place a funnel in here, and you're ready to fill it with oil. And you're going to fill it with your 5 quarts of 5W30. Alright, so now you're going to pour in your oil. Alright, now that she's all filled up with the 5 quarts of oil, you're going to put your cap back on. And the next thing I would do is make sure that you don't have any leaks. And to do that, obviously you're just gonna look at the ground, make sure nothing's wet. And yeah, I look like I'm pretty good. So now the next thing to do is to check the oil level. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your dipstick out, dry it, and then you're gonna put it back in. And then you're gonna check your oil level. And mine looks just about good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run the truck for about 30 seconds to get the oil all slossed around, and then I'm gonna recheck the oil level. And then once you know that oil level is good, you're done with your oil change. All right, so now I'm gonna start the truck up, and we're gonna make sure that the oil level is good after I run it for about 30 seconds. All right, so let it run for a couple seconds, and then we're gonna shut it off and check the oil level again. All right, so now that I shut the truck off, I'm gonna come around and check the oil level one more time. And I gotta dry up the dipstick, sorry. Doing this just one hand. And then put the dipstick back in. And when you pull her out, she should be right around between the full and the low sign. And that's how you know you're good. So that was how to do an oil change on a 97 Ford Ranger 4.0 V6. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it helped you out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe.